When you're throwing a dinner party, you don't start chopping onions 30 minutes before your guests arrive. And if you want to serve good cocktails and enjoy yourself at the same time, you can't be mixing cocktails to order. Today, I'm going to show you how to become the ultimate party host by doing all your cocktail work ahead of time. Whether it's for a stirred cocktail like a Manhattan, a shaken cocktail like a margarita, or a full-on sparkling punch. Because nothing ruins a party like a stressed out bartender. 8 perfect Manhattans, the same quality as if I made them one by one, but in a fraction of the time. When you have a sip of that Manhattan, the flavors seem to magically come together in perfect balance in that frosty glass. In fact, a cocktail is so good because of a variety of factors that we can control. First, we add a precise ratio of ingredients, balancing out sweet with sour, with bitter, with savory, with alcoholic strength. Second, we control the temperature. A sub-zero Manhattan tastes bracing, savory, and exciting. A room temperature one tastes like sweet, warm whiskey. Third, we control the dilution. A truly great Manhattan is 25% water minimum. I like it closer to 30%. An under-diluted Manhattan tastes like cold whiskey. A properly diluted one tastes complex with all the subtle spice and oak notes from that whiskey coming out. And those notes, they're tempered by the caramelly dark fruits of the sweet vermouth. Fourth, we control the texture. A stirred drink like this has a wonderfully silky texture. It allows you to really taste each component separately, while a shaken drink is beautifully aerated with a lighter texture. When I make a Manhattan for one, I control all 4 of those variables at the same time. I carefully measure out 2 ounces of rye whiskey, 3/4 of an ounce of sweet vermouth, and an 1/8 teaspoon of aromatic bitters. I add ice, and as I stir it, I'm circulating liquid around the ice, simultaneously melting the colder ice and chilling the warmer booze until it gets to that perfect level of frostiness. Ice chills and ice dilutes. When I make a Manhattan the traditional way, I can't get one without the other. By only stirring, I get a crystal clear cocktail with that fabulous viscous texture. So good, as long as I only need to make 1 or 2 cocktails at a time. In fact, you can make large quantities of drinks that you normally stir with no reduction in quality. Actually, you can probably make them better. So, for 8 Manhattans, I need 16 ounces of rye whiskey, 6 ounces of sweet vermouth, and half a teaspoon of bitters. I scaled up the rye and vermouth exactly by 8 times, but I only used half the amount of bitters, otherwise they'd be too bitter. But I also need to account for dilution that would usually come from the ice melting. So I'm adding 8 ounces of water. This opens up the drink and lets you taste more of the subtle flavors and reduces the alcoholic burn. Now I have 8 perfectly balanced, warm Manhattans. But here's the thing, I can't just stick this in the freezer. Regular freezers are too cold. They'll start to freeze your cocktail if it's properly diluted. Also, certain drinks, particularly ones that are high in tannins, like whiskey and some red wines, don't do very well when they're too cold. This is an experiment you can do at home. Next time you're drinking a wine high in tannins, a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Syrah, put a small glass in the fridge and taste the difference between that and a room temperature sample. I always find that the cold sample will give you much more of that mouth-puckering sensation than the room temperature one. Whiskey is lower in tannins than red wine, so it can still be served cold, just not too cold. You don't really want it below 23 or 24 degrees. To get the cocktail to the right temperature, put it in the freezer for 2 hours to quickly chill it, then transfer it to the fridge to hold it. You'll have perfectly chilled, perfectly diluted Manhattans ready to pour. I'd like to thank Teakhouse, the sponsor of this series. Their wooden cutting boards have won our testings again and again. The oily resins naturally present in teak help condition the board, which means they look great without much work. And don't we all want a low-key routine that leaves us looking amazing? Now, if you want to batch any stirred cocktail, here's your magic formula. Volume of water added equals dilution percentage times volume of booze, all divided by 1 minus dilution percentage. A martini wants about 33% dilution, a Manhattan 27%, a daiquiri 40%, but a Negroni only 25% because it gets served on ice. You can apply this principle to any similar drink. Sazeracs, Old Fashions, Mojitos, you name it. Check out our book, Cocktails Illustrated, for all our tested formulas and recipes. But what about shaken cocktails? Remember, shaking does something else too. It also aerates, which you can't get from this technique. So for shaken cocktails, we need a different approach. Proper shaking creates that light, foamy texture that makes shaken cocktails so appealing. And nothing says party like a pitcher of margaritas. The first step is making your own diluted sour mix, and it's way better than anything you can buy. As well as using fresh juices, we also infuse it with lemon and lime zest, which adds tons of complexity. Now, I'm combining that citrus syrup with 24 ounces of tequila, 9 ounces of orange liqueur, 6 ounces of lime juice, and 6 ounces of lemon juice. Mix it all together, cover it, and transfer to the fridge. This can sit for up to 24 hours, which means you can make it the day before your party. So now we have our margaritas that are properly chilled and diluted. But remember, with the drink that's normally shaken, you want some of that aeration that you get from shaking hard. So time to whip out an immersion blender. When you're ready to serve, whip it for a few seconds to give it that foamy, aerated texture. You can give it a good whisk too. Set up a salt station if you want, pour over ice, garnish with a lime wedge, and you've got 12 perfect margaritas without any of the party time chaos by trying to mix to order. We regulate the temperature by serving cold from the fridge and then have more chilling and diluting with the ice. Same bright, balanced flavour as an individual cocktail with a flavour boost from the citrus oils and that lighter texture. All the work is done ahead of time. You can also use the sour mix to make amazing daiquiris or gimlets. Now, if you really want to go big for the holidays, there's one more option that scales even better: the punch. We developed a load of really fun options in Cocktails Illustrated. This spiced cranberry orange punch serves 16 and is perfect for Thanksgiving. For the base, I made a spiced ginger rosemary cranberry syrup, which can be made up to 4 days ahead. When you're ready to serve, add the chilled cranberry syrup, along with some orange juice and cranberry juice. Now this is a non-alcoholic punch, and the recipe adds 2 litres of seltzer, that's 68 ounces. I like to booze it up by subbing in 2 bottles of sparkling wine and reducing the seltzer water to 16 ounces. The beauty of this punch is you can have it alcoholic, non-alcoholic, or you can split it so there's an NA batch and a boozy version. This works because as long as you use a sparkling wine that's not too sweet, the punch will be as balanced with seltzer or wine. For that final flourish, add an ice ring. This keeps the punch chilled while watering it down very slowly. You can also just use some bigger ice cubes. Cocktails Illustrated has the specifics on building a beautiful one. All the work is done ahead of time, and your guests arrive to a beautiful punch bowl and a chilled out host. So here's your game plan for stress-free entertaining. Those punch syrups can be made up to 4 days ahead. The margarita mix can sit overnight, and put those stirred cocktails in the freezer a few hours ahead. This way, you're not stuck behind the bar all night, you'll actually get to enjoy your party, and your guests will get consistently great cocktails. Cheers. If you like this episode, you will love our new book, Cocktails Illustrated. It's packed with hundreds of recipes, cocktail science, and explanations like these.